Welcome to the road race. Here we're starting at the top of Bean Blossom, going into the forest. And the first half of the forest section is all downhill. The roads are really smooth here. We're heading through Morgan Monroe Forest, and this is our Forest Road. There are some parts of the road you should watch out for on the right-hand side that are a little beat up, but besides that, this part of the road is very smooth. This is also the same part of the course that is the time trial course. It's an out and back on this portion. I will point out the turnaround just a bit. This first section is about 3 miles in length before we take a left out onto Old 37 Road. As you can see, it's pretty much just rolling, but it's mostly downhill in this section. Pretty smooth. None of these turns are really sharp enough where you have to worry about stopping pedaling. There's also very little traffic in this part of the course. You shouldn't have to worry about that. Of course, we'll have pace cars on course. We will also have wheel vans available for each race, so there's nothing to worry about there if you have extra wheels. And here we're coming towards the end of the turnaround. It's about 300 meters to go, and the turnaround's right here in this area. And then in the road race, you're actually gonna take a left here. As you can see, there'll be marshals blocking the road, and then we're gonna head down this descent, and this will lead us into the first big climb of the race. So this descent is pretty straight, nothing too sharp to worry about. There is a left-hander at the bottom, but nothing you need to hit the brakes for. We do have some sizable packs, especially for the D races, so it should be strung out through here just for safety. And that's pretty much the descent right there. Then we hit this false flat, and this will lead us into the first climb of the day that's called Hindustan. It averages about 7% for just over half a mile. Nothing too spiky. It's pretty even throughout. And we're almost to the top here now. There's no real dogs or animals known to be on the course that kind of come through, so nothing to worry about there. This part is all kind of flat or false flat or just slight downhill. This part will go for a couple miles. There is some winding to the road, but nothing really too sharp or anything. We've done our best to sweep the roads. The roads aren't too damaged in any specific spot, but it is good to look out for potholes and stuff, point it out for each other. So right now we are on Old State Road 37. This is going to comprise basically half of the course. And so we've gone a couple miles now onto this, and we're going to hit a descent ahead here. There's nothing too dangerous about it, but it is very fast. You definitely could hit 40 miles an hour, and we're about to start the descent right here now. So it's going to sweep left, then you're going to go past a big farmhouse, and it's going to sweep right, and then you're going to end up going over a bridge. So you can see there is some potholes on the left side of the road, so you're going to want to be cautious going through there. So it's going to be a slight right. You're going to want to watch the inside, and then it's pretty straight, and it's going to spit you right back out onto a flat section. And you're going to want to watch this bridge right there. Now we're going to keep going. It's probably about less than a mile to the left-hander, and you're going to take that on to Anderson. You're going to want to be a little careful in this corner. If you take it very wide, you might end up off course, but also there's a big pothole, but you shouldn't be taking that line anyway. You'll want to keep it nice and tight through this left-hand turn. And then this is going to be about, for a mile and a half, just pan flat. It gets pretty windy through this section of the course. You're going to go dead straight, and then you're going to take a slight right, and then a slight left. And then, again, just more pan flat, really exposed to the wind. See, this part of the road's pretty smooth, nice and quick, but it can get very windy, like I said. And we're going to approach a nice little kicker here. Definitely not really a categorized climb or anything, but there's a solid bit of bite to it. Can't tell you what the Strava segment is on this portion, but it's definitely quick. Now you're going to go through here. This is the top of Anderson. You're gonna stay on this until you turn back onto Bean Blossom Road and hit the big main climb of the course. So you're gonna go through this a bit. It's pretty much pan flat, and then you're gonna take a quick, short downhill into another flat section. Now here's a second stinger that is going to come. You shouldn't really go wide here. You should just try to keep it up in the group. Centerline rule is in effect for this race, and we will have moto officials on course. So if you do try to cross the yellow line, they'll most likely send you to the back of the pack. So you want to try to follow those rules. Now this section, the road does get a little rough heading into this wooded area. You're going to want to stay towards the left side of the road here. There are some good bumps on the right side, and probably about a mile and a half out to the turn onto the forest. The loop in total is about 14 miles, 2 major climbs, Bean Blossom and Hindustan. And there's 2 big descents where you can really try to make up ground if you get popped on the climbs. Now here it's pretty much just flat, and then it's going to just do a gentle rise up before we get to the turn. So right here we're cresting, and then you're going to take this left-hander. You can take it pretty quick, but you're going to want to be careful. We've been cleaning the roads all week, so it should be nice and smooth for you. Now it's going to be about 800 to 1,000 meters before we hit the first part of Bean Blossom. And Bean Blossom pretty much is steepest at the very beginning. It's going to touch almost 18%, but for the whole mile and a half of the climb, it only averages 4%. So you'll see that it's basically just a really steep kicker at the beginning. So that's where you're pretty much going to want to try to hold on for dear life to all those attacks that are going to come through. So this part of the road is pretty much pan flat, so it's pretty much going to be a drag race to the steep beginning of the climb. Been clearing any of the brush and stuff that'll end up on course, and we're going to do a morning through check to make sure the course is all good on the road course, and especially the road TT course that is shared. So here you're going to take this slight right, and you can see it kind of really kicks up towards Bean Blossom, and this is the start. probably touching about 15% here. So you'll see some of the local fans will get rowdy in this section, really cheering you on. And then at the very, very top of this climb, I'll point out the feed zone. But yeah, loyal fans will be down here at the bottom of the climb. It's pretty much still, that first pitch is the steepest, but it's still steep running through this part. And then you're basically going to hit 3 major rollers of up and down that'll be pretty prone to attacks. So here you can kind of see it's still pretty steep here. You're still probably riding your little ring or trying to recover from the steep part. You're going to crest this first part and then take a slight downhill into the first roller. Been clearing the roads all week, so this section should be pretty safe for everybody. Now here you're cresting this roller and you're going to take a slight right and then carry a lot of speed through here. And the D's race is doing 2 laps of this, while the B and C are doing 3 laps, and the A race should be doing 5 laps of this course. So there will be a good amount of climbing throughout the entire thing. So you can kind of see it's pretty much like I said, pretty much rollers all through this. Once you get through that first steep pitch, and then another gradual right-hander. Now the uphill is not super steep, but it's definitely qualifies as an uphill finish. Should be pretty strung out through this section by the end of the race though. Now we're approaching the finish here. It kind of spikes up and then gets gradual and then spikes up again. And then at the top of this climb, Bean Blossom, before you make the left-handed turn back onto the course where we started the video and is also the TT course, this is pretty much your feed zone right here on the right-hand side. Be sure to follow what the officials say.